Hi, I'm Chef Gail Sokol and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're making PB&J crumb bars. And if you don't know what that is, peanut butter and jam bars, baby. And we're making our own jam, strawberry jam. So the first thing we're gonna do is preheat our oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. I have done that. And now I'm gonna make my filling because we do need to let it cool before we put it on top of our crust. So the first thing I have in here is 1.5 pounds of sliced frozen strawberries that I have allowed to thaw. And they are sliced. You can actually buy them sliced. I have 1/3 cup of granulated sugar, 1 tablespoon and a teaspoon of cornstarch. And then I'm going to put in 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice. All right, I'm going to mix all this up. Also going to add 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And I'm going to mix this up until it thickens and the strawberries break down. So you want them to get sort of jammy, for lack of a better word. And if you don't like strawberries, you could use blackberries, you could use raspberries. You can use fresh if you want as well. But you do want them to break down. So right now, this is what it looks like unthickened. And I want to show you what it looks like unthickened. And as you start thickening it, and it comes to a boil, cornstarch, what I'm actually trying to say is cornstarch will not thicken until it does come to a boil. So you want to get these to break down. I like using frozen because, frankly, they're already softer anyway, so it takes less time to make the filling. This can take up to, 8 to 10 minutes, depending on how long or how firm your strawberries are. I also don't like to waste fresh strawberries on a jam. I like to use my fresh strawberries when they're going to be in the strawberry shape. And again, you can make this in any flavor you want. So I'm going to let this go until they've thickened. All right, so about 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes have gone by. They've broken down nicely and it's thickened. So I'm going to turn my heat off and I'm actually going to pour them into a bowl and I'm going to let them cool. Because you don't want to put this on a crust that will sort of melt down your other ingredients. So this is a beautiful, beautiful jammy jam filling for our beautiful crust. So we'll set this aside. If it doesn't cool down fast enough, you can also put it in an ice water bath. Just a great tip. All right, so I've cooled my strawberry jam filling and it looks jammy and delicious. And if you are having trouble breaking those strawberries down, potato masher is a great way to do it. Just do it right in the saucepan. Just go mash, mash, mash very gently until they break down a little bit to a jammy consistency. I'm going to keep this over here until we're ready to go. Now it's crust time, peanut butter crust. And I have my peanut butter in the fridge. I'm going to go grab that now. So I have 6 tablespoons of peanut butter that I left in the fridge, and this is just creamy peanut butter. I'm leaving it here. I'm not adding it just yet. This is instead of butter. This is the fat that we're using instead of butter to increase this peanut butter flavor. So in a food processor, you can do it by hand if you'd like, 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. And then just to give a little, je ne sais quoi, 1/4 cup of toasted wheat germ. If you don't like wheat germ, you can use whole wheat flour. If you don't like it, just up your all-purpose flour by 1/4 cup. That's fine too. And I have 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. And then I have 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. I like the kosher salt in this. Peanut butter and a little salt sort of really plays off each other really, really nicely. Now I'm just going to pulse it. Just pulse it. We just want to get all these dry ingredients combined. All right, and once they're combined, we're going to add our peanut butter. So our peanut butter may be a little firm because it's a fat and it will get firm, and we don't mind that because we want it to be nice and firm in our dough because it is replacing any butter that we might have. Now I'm going to cover this because sometimes it looks like I'm doing magic. My food processor sometimes sort of expels things like poof. So just put a kitchen towel, clean kitchen towel around, just pulse, 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 pulse until there's little pieces of peanut butter evenly distributed. And then we're going to add some wet ingredients. Okay, let's take a look. See what we got. All right, I'm going to move this around a little bit. Looks good. Smells peanut buttery. And next we're going to add 1 whole egg, 2 tablespoons of canola oil. You could use coconut oil, any neutral oil. I wouldn't use olive oil because it's going to just give too much of an olive taste. 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And I want to see how dry that is because I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of icy water if I need it. And that's because I don't want to melt down or really make my peanut butter any softer than it needs to be, because I really want sort of a nice crumb crust. Let's see how this looks. And we may need I think we are going to need our water. So I have 2 tablespoons of icy water here. And if we need more, we can always add more, because I always keep a little extra on the side, because you never know when you make a crumb crust. Sometimes you might need a little bit more, depending on how you measured your flour, your sugar. So now I'm going to let this go. Pulse it, and then we're going to dump it into a bowl. And that is what I'm going to do. We're going to dump the whole thing into a bowl, a big bowl. All right? So hold on to that middle blade so you don't get it on your hands or it doesn't fling stuff on you. And then I'm just going to get all the good stuff out. Use your fingers to get it all out. All right. And then I'm just going to feel it. Use your hands. Your hands are your best tools. It's sort of like going to the beach. You feel like you can grab a handful of like wet sand and make a sandcastle with this. I'm going to add another tablespoon of water. I just want another tablespoon. But boy, do I smell peanut butter. Oh my goodness, it's going to be fabulous. I'm going to add 1 more tablespoon of cold water. Just going to mix that in. All right. I could build a great sandcastle with this and then eat it afterwards. Wouldn't that be amazing? So what we're going to do now is we're going to take 1 cup, and I'm going to actually take a whole cup of this, because this is going to be our crumb topping, and I'm going to put it into another bowl. All right. That is for later. And now I'm going to move all my other empty dishes away. And then I have a 9 by 13 inch pan that I've sprayed with nonstick cooking spray, and I've lined it with parchment paper and sprayed it again. And I have some of the edges coming up so I can pull it up after. And I'm going to put my crust, my bottom crust in. All right. And then you're going to push. Oh, I just got a whiff of peanut butter. Oh, yum, yum, yum. Am I getting hungry? Remember, my oven's already preheated, so I'm actually going to be pressing this down. And a great thing to do is to use the measuring cup that you had. Press down so it's even. Okay? I sort of do feel like I'm at the beach. I really do. And you want to make sure it's level and it's even. So this is why it's a good idea to use this measuring cup to really press. I find bar cookies work out the best when you press your bottom layer down really, really hard. You have a nice, cleaner cut of the bar when it comes out of the oven and it cools. All right, so I'm going to push, push, push as hard as you can and make sure that your edges in the corners are just as high as in the middle and in the center, okay? So I'm going to push this down. I'm really pushing hard. I'm pushing hard. I'm pushing hard. I'm pushing hard. All right, and you will see little bits of peanut butter because it wasn't totally blended in. It wasn't supposed to be. This is a good thing, all right? All right, now our strawberry jam. It goes right in here. And I'm just going to try to do it without spilling it all over. And you want an even layer. Oh, it's so beautiful. Look at that. So yummy. This strawberry jam, and I use jam sort of loosely. It's sort of a jam filling, but you could use this as a tart filling. You could use this over ice cream, over pancakes. Yes, I would love that over pancakes. And you're going to spread that filling evenly all over, all right? And make sure it's as cool as it can be. Doesn't have to be ice cold. You could even make the filling the day before, but you do want it to be evenly distributed. Oh, this is going to be so good. And then we're going to actually kick it up a little bit and make those flavors yummy. All right, I'm going to move this over and make sure it's very even. Take a minute to do this. I'm taking a minute to do this with you because I want to make sure that you don't just pour it in and leave it like that. So make sure that you look around and you get it into all the nooks and crannies. All right, look at all the nooks and crannies. And if you've missed a little corner, get it. Take a moment. This is a great bar cookie to make with for family, make with the kids. Now remember that 1 cup that I reserved? I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of coarsely chopped salted peanuts. Oh, okay, so we're kicking it up a little bit better. This is going to be the ultimate PB&J crumb bar. Now, once you mix this in, you're going to hold your horses because I have about 4 tablespoons of peanut butter and a little spatula. And I'm just going to give a little boop. I'm just going to plop little bits, just randomly all around. All right, if you don't want to do this part, you don't have to. And if you like almond butter, you could do this whole thing with almond butter. Or you could just skip this part entirely. But this is screaming PB&J. PB&J, it's screaming it. This is like capital letters because it's so amazing, all right? I just really want to get that peanut butter flavor in there. And you know the feeling when you were a kid and you were eating a PB&J sandwich, but now you don't have to have it for lunch. You can have it for dessert or breakfast. Oh, yum. All right, so you just randomly put little bits on. Doesn't have to be perfect. All right, I think we're good. And now I'm going to take my crumbs and I'm just going to dredge, because that's the right word, dredge the filling and the peanut butter all over with my crumbs. All right. Ah, so good. Get into the corners. All right. And just admire this. This is just so beautiful. I have to admire it. I have to say, this looks yummy. If you don't get every single bit of jam, it'll poke through as it bakes. Don't worry. Jam has a way of saying, nobody puts jam in the corner, right? It's got to show through and it may bubble through, and that's really what you want. Okay, going into the oven, 375 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 minutes. So we have reached a critical moment in time. My PB&J crumble bars have cooled. I've left them in the fridge for a while till they got really cold, and now it's ready to cut them. Are you ready for the big reveal? So that I got them out of the pan with my parchment paper. I've pulled it down on the sides. Don't get upset if the jam sticks, it will, don't worry. And then we're gonna start cutting bars. Now it depends on how big you like them. Okay, you like them big? Cut them big. And I'm gonna show you one. You can smell the peanut butter. You can smell the strawberry. I'm gonna show you how beautiful these look. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. They are lovely. Look at that. Look at that gorgeous bar. Doesn't that just say PB&J crumble bar? Peanut butter and fresh homemade strawberry jam with a kick of peanuts on top. I hope you become a subscriber. You gotta make these bars and tell me how you like them. Until next time.